Hasbro's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 Monsters We Hope to See. Part 1. Go Go Plastic Rangers! Hello and welcome to SpeekyGeeky. As always, I am Mr. Geeky, and today we are going to discuss the top Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 Monsters We Hope to See. Before we take the reins steering this Megazord of fun, psst, we got dibs on Tyrannosaurus, by the way. Just a quick update, because one of our initial characters we had chosen for this video was revealed on May 14th in the Hasbro Pulse live stream event and is said to now be coming to us in a 2-pack. That character is none other than Rita's right hand, or rather right stinger, second in command, Scorpina. The figure is currently for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store as well as HasbroPulse.com with an estimated October release. Our very quick nerd out moment on this figure. First of all, yes please. How do we not already have a Scorpina? Secondly, the figure looks great. If we have any complaint, it's perhaps that she is packaged with a figure we already have instead of with another monster. But from a marketing and sales standpoint, this format makes perfect sense because it gives the offering of a good guy versus bad guy, which, considering these are sold at brick and mortar stores and the line isn't only geared toward adults, this is a fun way to ensure we have a way to get a Ranger and a monster into folks' hands. One other tiny point of contention is that there should be more black paint apps on the armor instead of just the solid gold plastic. But we realize this is getting into minutia territory, and we're not going to let that rain on our parade because, again, Scorpina is coming. Okay, with our nerd out moment done, let's talk about Hasbro's Lightning Collection for a moment. In particular, a gripe we have. Yep, a gripe. Specifically, that they are doing such a bang-up job with the line. Wait, huh? But why? That makes no sense, Geeky. Oh, but it does. You just have to wait for the point. Don't worry though, we're getting to it. The problem is that they are doing such a great job with these figures that we want to display them prominently on our shelves, but we currently have very few monsters to pair them with. And much like the Batman franchise, the Power Rangers are awesome on their own, but are made even better by who they are fighting. Yeah, we know they are steadily but surely trying to rectify this with an ever-growing slow trickle of monsters, but a little fact like that isn't going to stop us from imagining who our dream team of releases might be. One additional enormous void which we are voicing only because it is really a compliment to the line and we are hoping it might be rectified at some point in the near future is the fact that the monsters we do have aren't solicited with an oversized evolved version for which to do battle with a Megazord, Dragon Zord, or whatever additional Zords make their way in down the line. Nor are we getting Finster's putty versions of the monsters, but we'll circle back on that a little later on. Considering how each episode in the series is fairly formulaic and presents each villain as both a standard size and oversized threat, it feels like a giant missed opportunity both on the additional sales perspective and for making hardcore collectors feel like Hasbro is going that extra mile toward fanbase and series appreciation. If we had our druthers, as the line progresses, we'd love to see this option also available, even if it meant a little less articulation on those larger scale options to keep price points manageable. With as many years and corresponding baddies the Power Rangers have faced over the years, in order to do this line justice, it's going to take a multi-part series. So join us now as we dive into SpeekyGeeky's top 12 monsters from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1 we'd like to see. Number 1, Finster. What good is having a Rita figure if we don't have her right-hand monster responsible for bringing her evil art to life? Finster is a must-have for a Season 1 monster, as he is just as responsible for helping to propel the action from episode to episode as Rita was. After all, the series would have been much shorter if it just involved Rita standing up from time to time saying, "Get them, my putties," but there were no actual putties to be seen. Throw in some Easter eggs of clay sculptures for future monsters we'll see in the line, and the Monster-Matic for Finster to add the clay figures into for that extra mile, and we are some happy Rangers. Number 2 and 3, Squatt and Baboo. Squatt and Baboo go together like Laurel and Hardy, or Pinky and the Brain, if both mice were pinky. They may have been, as Rita would from time to time so eloquently put it, a couple of nitwits, but they were our nitwits, and we love that they were predictably nitwittish through and through. These two are essential early era monsters that any longtime Power Rangers fan will admit are as necessary as comic relief to Rita as Alpha 5 is to Zordon. Number 4, Bones. Bones! This monster is a must for a couple of fairly big reasons. First, he was the very first monster the Power Rangers tussled with and defeated. He was the baddie that the group were able to cut their teeth against, and that's not nothing. Secondly, just look at the guy. He's like Skeletor come to live action. And yes, we are fully aware of the canon film's Master of the Universe movie and have a great admiration for Frank Langella. But let's just say, if this is how Skeletor looked in that film, we would have probably also been just fine with that. Number 5, Eye Guy. Eye Guy is the answer to that age-old question, what's cooler than having eyes in the back of your head? There may be no eye in team, but if that team is the Power Rangers, there certainly should be a monster with quite a few more eyes next to that team on our shelves. Number 6, Scorpina. Technically more of a traditional villain than a monster, though she does transform into a monster form as well. But for the sake of this list and the importance of this character's need to be in the toy line, we'll make an exception. In the early era Power Rangers series, right next to Goldar, Scorpina is Rita's most capable and ruthless enforcer. Seeing as we already have Goldar, the addition of Scorpina would allow an epic battle to ensue in our playroom, the likes of which would have put the production cost of the show through the roof. Number 7, Goatan. Half goat, half lion, half snake? Dragon? Whatever he is, he's all parts awesome. Also known as his equally fun name moniker, the StormBringer. Yeah, how epic is that? Goatan is a chimera who quite literally could have destroyed the entire Earth with his power set, and if not for his remarkably short attention span, weakness for spinning objects, and of course those pesky Power Rangers, he would have done just that. Number 8, Mighty Minotaur. When we think of classic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers monsters, it is this dude 100 times over. Evil presence, awesome design straight out of ancient Greek drama. It's a freaking Minotaur. There's your argument right there. Do we really have to say more? Let's get this guy made so Hasbro can take our money already. Number 9, Shellshock. Crossover alert! Crossover alert! This was an unofficial appearance of a mutant turtle when another well-known Mutant Turtle series was tied for the ratings, which wasn't that much of a well-kept secret. Well, potentially a coincidence, as the Power Rangers series editing drew from episodes created many years prior to their airing, it certainly was fun to see this type of character represented on the show and pitted against the protagonists, so fans of both series could imagine how that altercation might play out. Though here it was clearly slanted in the home team's favor, we appreciated seeing a battle between two of our favorite series giants at the time, and we'll appreciate that pairing in toy form as well. One quick note for those stretching their commenting fingers right now, we are very well aware that the Turtles did in fact have an actual crossover with the Rangers many seasons later, but this came first, so that is a discussion for a different episode. Number 10, Polluticorn. If you can only have room for one pollution-based unicorn in your collection, it should probably be this Polluticorn, don't you think? All kidding aside, this monster encompasses so much of what is fun about the Power Rangers franchise. The fact that episode to episode we absolutely had no idea what kind of monsters we would be treated to was what made up a big part of the fun. And certainly, nobody, for all their guesswork, would have had pollution-themed unicorn on their absurdist monster bingo card, which kind of makes a character like Polluticorn a bit of a unicorn in more ways than one. Number 11, Lizzonator. Lizzonator is one of those monsters where he just looks cool. Part lizard, part rat, part who knows what, but good golly do we think he'd be fun to spar off against the Power Rangers or the Ninja Turtles, or heck, he'd even fit in fairly seamlessly next to our Thundercats figures. In fact, he kind of seems like he jumped right out from that series anyways. So much potential, such a neat looking character where Hasbro could do a pretty bang up job with a modern sculpt with all sorts of articulation-y goodness. Number 12, Mutitus. Mutitus is the answer to the question, what do you get when you cross Frankenstein's monster with the necrotic kaiju gore of Tetsuo's transformation in Akira? Things get a little more bat-guano-y when the primary villain of that episode, Lokar, uses his breath of doom to turn Mutitus from a necro hodgepodge into something a bit more, we want to say, dragon-infused meat sack? Mutitus also reminds us a bit of the monster Decompose from the Inhumanoids franchise, and that hint of crossover imaginative play frankly ramps up the fun factor, especially towards the thought of potentially getting a monster-sized version of this figure for Mutitus to evolve into? Needless to say, Lokar and some evolved swappable parts would be natural additional accessories that come with this character. Well, there it is. That concludes part 1 of our top Power Rangers Season 1 monsters we hope to see in Hasbro's Lightning Collection. But part 2 will be dropping any day now. So make sure to stay tuned to SpeekyGeeky's YouTube channel for more dedicated monster time. We imagine you'll have some characters at the top of your list too, so feel free to join the conversation in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to sub up, give the video a like, and share with anyone you know who appreciates these types of videos. Also, make sure to check out the description for some other links that lead to some similar expanded content we think you'll also probably dig quite a bit. We realize you could have gone anywhere and you chose to nerd out with us, and we appreciate that. What's that? Before we go, you were hoping for a montage of the Dragon Zord being summoned while Bulk and Skull get pied in the face and the Power Rangers dance? Well, that is a super weird and oddly specific request, and we don't know how we'll be able to pull it off on such short...
Dynamite.
The world is very lucky to have you, and so am I. May the power protect you, always.
Aw, shucks. I was just gonna say, until next we speaky, keep it geeky, but that's really sweet of you, Zordon. So, as always, I am Mr. Geeky, and until next we monster speaky, keep it geeky, folks.